You know that feeling at the start of the month when you make a quiet promise to yourself? This month is going to be different. This month, you're actually going to save money. You've got it all figured out in your head. You'll skip the takeout. You'll be smart about it. And by the end of the month, you'll finally have something sitting in savings. And then somehow you blink, and it's the 20th. Your account is almost empty again, and you have absolutely no idea where it all went. Sound familiar? If it does, I want you to hear something that might genuinely take a weight off your shoulders. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you have no discipline. It's not because you're bad with money. The real reason saving feels impossible is that you've been using completely the wrong tool for the job. And once you understand the psychology behind what I'm about to show you, saving stops being this exhausting battle you lose every single month and starts happening almost on its own. I spend way too much time thinking about money, human psychology, and why some people seem to save effortlessly, while others try as hard as they possibly can and still end up with nothing. If you want to actually understand how to make your money behave, instead of just feeling guilty about it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up helping you. Now, here's the first thing I need you to understand, and it might sting a little. Willpower is the wrong tool. Almost everyone who struggles to save is trying to white-knuckle their way through it. They think saving is about discipline, about resisting temptation, about being strong enough to say no every single time money tries to leave their account. And the problem is, that approach is basically guaranteed to fail, not because you're weak, but because of how the human brain actually works. Let me explain. Your willpower is not unlimited. Psychologists have a concept called decision fatigue, and it describes something you've felt 1,000 times even if you never had a name for it. Every single decision you make throughout the day drains a little bit of your mental energy. Should I hit snooze? What should I wear? Should I grab coffee? Can I afford lunch out today? By the time you get home from work, exhausted, drained, and just wanting to feel a little bit good, your willpower tank is basically running on fumes. And that is exactly the moment that shopping app, that food delivery, that little treat you deserve shows up. You're not failing to save at your strongest moment. You're being asked to resist at your weakest moment, over and over again, every single day. It's a fight you are never going to win. And here's the part that makes it even worse. When you're stressed about money, your brain actually gets worse at making long-term decisions. There's research showing that the mental weight of financial scarcity literally reduces your available brain power. It's like trying to plan for next year while a fire alarm is going off in your head. So you've got a brain that's running low on willpower and a brain that struggles to think long-term when money is tight. And then we tell people the answer is just to have more discipline. It's like telling someone who's drowning that they just need to try harder to breathe. And here's something that should make you feel a little better about every failed attempt you've ever had. There's a psychology concept called present bias. Your brain is wired to massively overvalue rewards you can get right now and massively undervalue rewards in the future. To your brain, $20 spent on something fun tonight feels real and exciting, while $20 saved for a version of you that exists 10 years from now feels abstract and almost fake. You're not fighting a character flaw. You're fighting millions of years of evolution that never expected you to plan for a retirement account. Asking your raw willpower to beat that every single day is a losing game, and you've been losing it honestly because the deck was stacked against you the whole time. So if willpower is the wrong tool, what's the right one? This is where it gets good. The trick, and I'll be honest with you, it's almost insultingly simple, is to remove yourself from the equation entirely. You make saving automatic and invisible. That's it. That's the whole thing. But stick with me, because the reason it works is far more powerful than it sounds, and the way you set it up makes all the difference between this changing your life and it being just another tip you forget by tomorrow. Here's the core idea. Right now, most people save whatever is left over at the end of the month. You get paid, you spend on bills, you spend on life, you spend on the little things, and then you save whatever survives. And surprise, nothing ever survives. This is called paying yourself last, and it's the default setting for almost everyone who can't seem to save. The trick is to flip it completely. You pay yourself first. The moment your paycheck lands, before you've had the chance to see it, touch it, or talk yourself out of it, a fixed amount automatically moves into a separate savings account. You set it up one time, And then it happens every single payday for the rest of your life without you lifting a finger or spending a single drop of willpower. Now you might be thinking, okay, that just sounds like a budgeting tip. But it's not. And here's the psychology that makes it genuinely different. The first reason it works is something behavioral scientists call removing friction. Every action you take has a certain amount of effort, or friction, attached to it. When saving requires you to manually log in, decide on an amount, fight the urge to keep it, and then transfer the money, that's a mountain of friction standing between you and the right choice. Automation flattens that mountain to zero. The good behavior now happens by default, and you'd actually have to put in effort to stop it. You've completely flipped which choice is the easy one. The second reason is even sneakier, and it's the real magic. You cannot spend money you never see. There's a psychological principle that what's out of sight is genuinely out of mind. When that money lands in your main checking account and just sits there staring at you, your brain counts it as spendable. It's right there. It feels available. But when it vanishes into a separate account automatically before you ever lay eyes on it, your brain quietly recalibrates. It adjusts to the smaller number in your checking account and treats that as your normal. Within a month or two, you genuinely stop missing the money that's being saved, because as far as your day-to-day brain is concerned, that money was never there to begin with. Think about how powerful that is. You're not resisting temptation anymore. You've removed the temptation before it ever has a chance to exist. Let me give you a concrete picture of what this looks like. Say you get paid $2,000 every 2 weeks. You set up an automatic transfer of $200 to move into a separate savings account the morning after each payday. You never see that $200 sitting in your checking account. You never get the chance to spend it. You just adjust to living on $1,800. Which honestly feels almost identical. But quietly, in the background, you're now saving $400 a month, $4,800 a year, without making a single hard decision or fighting a single craving. A year from now, you look up, and there's nearly $5,000 sitting there, and you barely remember the effort because there wasn't any. And let me tell you what actually happens when you check that account a few months in. Because this part nobody warns you about. It feels good. Watching a number climb that you didn't have to fight for triggers a little hit of satisfaction, and suddenly saving stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like a game you're winning. For the first time, money in the bank becomes something you're quietly proud of instead of something you're anxious about. That emotional flip, from dread to a little spark of pride, is the thing that keeps the whole system running long after the initial motivation has worn off. So let me walk you through exactly how to set this up, because the details matter more than you'd think. Step 1. Open a separate savings account that is not at the same bank as your checking account if you can manage it. This is important. You want a little bit of distance, a little bit of friction, between you and that money. If it's at a different bank, transferring it back takes a day or two, and that delay is often just enough to kill an impulse purchase before it happens. Out of sight, slightly out of reach. Step 2. Set up an automatic transfer scheduled for the day after you get paid. Not the day you decide to, not when you remember, automatically, every single payday. The timing matters. You want that money gone before your spending brain even wakes up to it. Step 3. And this is the one most people get wrong. Start smaller than you think you should. I know that sounds backwards. You're motivated right now. You want to save a huge chunk. You want to make up for lost time. Don't. If you set it too high, your checking account runs dry, you panic, you turn the whole thing off, and you're right back to square one feeling like a failure again. Start with an amount so small it's almost laughable, even $50 a paycheck. The goal at the beginning is not the amount, it's proving to your brain that this system works and doesn't hurt. Then, here's the escalation trick that makes this quietly explosive over time. Every couple of months, or every time you get a raise, you bump that automatic transfer up by a small amount. Maybe 1% of your income, maybe an extra $20. The increases are small enough that you never feel them, but they compound. Your savings rate creeps up year after year while your lifestyle barely notices. This is the exact opposite of what most people do, which is let their spending balloon every time they earn more. You're doing the reverse, on autopilot. Now I want to layer in a couple of extra psychological tricks that make this even more bulletproof. First, name your savings account something that actually means something to you. Not savings account 2. Name it something like Freedom Fund, or my first $10,000, or walking away money. There's real psychology here. When a goal has a name and an emotional meaning, you're far less likely to rate it for a random impulse, because pulling money out now feels like stealing from a future version of yourself you actually care about. Second, add friction to the bad behavior on purpose. Delete the saved card from your favorite shopping app. Log out of the sites that take your money the easiest. Remember, friction works both ways. You made saving frictionless, so now make spending just annoying enough that the impulse fades before you finish typing in your card number. You're not relying on willpower, you're engineering your environment so the lazy default is the good one. Third, automate the windfalls too, not just the paychecks. This is the one almost nobody does. Think about the money that shows up outside your normal paycheck. Your tax refund, a work bonus, birthday money, the extra check in the months that have an odd number of paydays. Your brain treats that money as found money, free money, money that doesn't count, which is exactly why it disappears the fastest. So make a rule for yourself ahead of time, while you're calm and thinking clearly, that a set percentage of any unexpected money goes straight into savings the moment it lands. Decide it now, automatically, so that future tempted you never even gets a vote. You'd be shocked how much wealth most people accidentally let slip through their fingers just from windfalls alone over a decade. Now let me save you from the mistakes that trip people up, because I see these constantly. Mistake number 1, relying on motivation to keep it going. The whole point of this system is that it runs without motivation. If you ever find yourself thinking, I need to remember to save this month, you've already lost. Automate it so completely that forgetting is impossible. Mistake number 2, overshooting at the start. I cannot say this enough. The person who automates $50 and keeps it running for 3 years crushes the person who automates $500, panics, and quits after 1 month. Consistency beats intensity every single time when it comes to building wealth. Mistake number 3, keeping the savings in the same account you spend from. If you can see it and reach it instantly, your brain treats it as spendable. And eventually you'll spend it. Separation is not optional. It's the entire mechanism. And one more thing while we're here. Don't wait until you feel ready, or until you're earning more, or until things calm down. There is no perfect moment coming. The entire point of the system is that it works even when life is messy and money is tight, because it doesn't depend on you being at your best. Set it up small today, exactly as you are right now, and let the automation carry you. And here's the beautiful thing that happens once the system has been running for a while. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who's bad with money, because you're not failing anymore. Month after month, that number just goes up, quietly, automatically, without drama. And that does something to your identity. You start to see yourself as a saver, as someone who's actually building something, and that shift changes how you make every other money decision going forward. Remember that feeling from the start of this video, the promise you make at the beginning of every month that always falls apart by the 20th? That promise was never broken because you weren't good enough. It was broken because you were trying to power it with willpower, the one thing guaranteed to run out. So stop relying on the part of you that gets tired, stressed, and tempted. Take yourself out of the equation entirely. Set it up once, make it automatic, make it invisible, and let the quiet, boring, unstoppable power of doing nothing build the savings you've been chasing for years. Your future self, the one who finally has money in the bank and actually sleeps at night, is counting on the 10 minutes you spend setting this up today. Trust me, they'll thank you for it.